and welcome everybody to the Profit Project interview series, where today we're going to be talking about wonderful wealth. And, wealth comes in many forms and many varieties. And what I'm super excited to have on the call here today is Patricia Kaziro from Radiate Coaching, who is an impact business coach. And welcome to the show, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, one of the reasons I'm so excited to have you on the line today is we've been talking for quite a while. And, when I often talk wealth, because I come from the financial background, a lot of people sort of think money, dollars, and those sorts of things. But I know I've got a belief that wealth is far more wider and encapsulating than that. And, somebody like yourself epitomizes that so much, I believe. And so I always like to start these conversations with the question of, what does wealth mean to you?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I think there's so many variables in what it can mean. But for me personally, with my background in community service and my personal values, I look at wealth in quite a holistic way. And I really think social capital is quite important to wealth. This ability to have a network that you trust, and people around you have resources that can be shared and connections with people who are like-minded in your values. So that's one way that I look at wealth, is having a fantastic networking business. The second way is probably also, when I talk about social capital, it's really about community building, and it's about connecting with people who have shared social and environmental values, and working towards what you can achieve in terms of collective impact by working together and helping each other to rise up and solve some of our most pressing social and environmental problems.
Yeah, that's such an awesome overview, which I know I want to dig deeper on and those sort of things, but I love that idea, social capital. It's such a, we hear of so many other forms of capital out there in the world, but I'll be honest, I don't know whether I've heard the social capital sort of encapsulated in that way. So I guess, to delve a little bit further, I'm quite interested, obviously, share with anybody watching today, sort of a bit of the backstory as to why you do what you do and how you came about to get, involved in the impact and the social space in the first place.
Yes, well, I actually transitioned into working with women in particular when I started my business, Radiate Coaching. And one of the reasons for that was that I'd studied in the last couple of years at a business school, university business school in Sydney. And to be honest, it was quite a boys' club. So I really had this firsthand experience of a lot of challenges in this learning environment as a woman in my mid-30s. And I said to myself, there must be a better way to help women learn about business in, a friendly environment that is helpful to them prospering in life, because that's what you go to a business school for. It's to help you learn the ins and outs of business. And I came into coaching wanting to specifically help women because the anecdotal research has showed that universally, women struggle to get capital for business. They have a lot of additional barriers when it comes to actually having their business thrive. And sometimes that can be the lack of a mentor, a business mentor. It can be the lack of capital. It can be the lack of a network that's suitable for them. So I came into my coaching wanting to help women build up their networks, their social capital, their understanding of running a sustainable business with a business model that was effective, and how they can actually change and transform their life through personal wealth, but also meaningful for-purpose work in the impact space. So working on businesses that create change and are focused on issues that they care about inherently. It's not all about making the money. It's doing something you love.
Yeah, that is so cool. And as you're talking there, I can just think of, reading so many sort of stories, and I love to read sort of the non-fiction books and those sorts of things. And it reminded me of the stories of some of the micro businesses out in, the developing countries and those sorts of things. And this whole notion that if you can build those micro businesses around the mothers within the groups, because they're such good community builders And, you know, being able to invest in those communities, it's such an amazing impact that it can have. I'm interested in your thoughts, and you could probably delve a bit far further on that than what I can.
Yes. Well, there's been a lot of research done that women do actually have a higher return on investment for the funding that they are given. They also inject the funds from their business, the profits generally, at a higher rate back into their families and communities than men. So there's this really beautiful circle and, I guess, effect of giving $1 to a woman because of what she puts back with that money. She puts it back into her family. She puts it back into the community. And this is universal. It's not just in developing countries. So the effects of supporting women on their business journey ultimately leads to better economic growth for countries. So if we're going to go big picture, there's a lot of benefits for supporting women in business because of what they're able to generate and give back. And there's also a tendency for women to focus in business on social and environmental issues. So I don't know the reasons for that in terms of gender base or what that is, but the anecdotal evidence is that women tend to focus also on businesses that give back and help our planet and our communities.
Yeah, I totally wholeheartedly agree. You know, some of the things I've seen out there, and yeah, hearing some of the stories that you've shared in the past, I think there's so much value in investing in those areas. And again, when it does come back to the financial, like you've shared some stuff there as far as, you know, what the actual return on investment can be with that. And I guess that's where I'm also interested in, you know, the thinking of wealth in the way that you think of it. What are the benefits that you've seen for people that do open up their minds to a bit of a different perspective around wealth creation and that holistic approach that you talk about? What, you know, are some of the things, the outcomes that you see once that starts to happen?
Yeah, well, it might be easiest to actually give an example without going into too many details, but I have a wonderful client who's based in Asia, and I've been working with her for more than a year now, and she was already at least 5 years into business when we started working together. So, you know, knew how to run a business, but through working together, she's really realigned her values in business so that she can be at a point in her life with her young family that she's also really ready to give back to that particular country. So this is a really exciting journey that we've been on together, because she can start to redivert the profits from her business to women's empowerment causes that she cares about in the country that she's in. So the impact of that, I can't wait to see over the coming 5 years over the plan that we're creating, because this is systemic change that we're working on. And she's originally an Aussie. She's a Brisbane lady. Her partner got a great job overseas, and she followed suit. And she didn't want to be a stay-at-home mother. She chose to set up a business in that new country. And she's used that Aussie drive to really build up the start of an empire within Asia. And this is so exciting because it's really about thinking beyond, you know, once you've got your own level of comfort, coming back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've provided for yourself, you've provided for your family, you've got a great team on board. So we've been working on setting up the perfect team to support her so she can shift into a better CEO role. And in doing that, she's then able to put the energy into much bigger picture impact goals that give back to the wider country that she's made home for the last few years.
That's great. I love hearing examples because it's something where people then can actually relate to that story, and it's whether they've thought of something or, you know, they can see the picture and they can see that journey on there. So I guess if you were to give sort of a little bit of a tip or advice for people to start looking at wealth a little bit differently than what they may have traditionally done, where would you sort of point them in the right direction to start to seed that little journey for them?
Yeah, it's an important question. And I think the starting point is to really tap in and discover what your values are, because we don't talk openly about this a lot, and most people can't articulate clearly what their values are. But essentially, your values are what you care about. And through my values-based coaching, I help people to discover what they really care about. Because if you can work out what your values are, you can start making decisions in your business that are values aligned. You can weed out a lot of time-wasting activities that are not well aligned with what you really care about. Because as you know, in business, we're often flooded with multiple, being pulled in multiple directions. But if you work out what your values are, you can start to say no to certain things and then dedicate more time to the things you really love. And that's where the legacy starts to kick in, and you can work on projects that are thinking much further into the future and beyond, your own everyday needs.
That is such an awesome answer and an amazing insight that I think if people start to, take that one little bit of advice on board to really refine down into their values. I know myself, and you hit the nail on the head there a little bit. Some people go, well, and I kind of know what my values are, but, but being able to articulate them and then have that then flow through everything you do, whether it's in personal life, whether it's in business life, can then feed through to have that such wider impact.
Definitely. And I think moving forwards, what I do help people do also is framing their values within then the company vision, purpose and mission, so that you're speaking to other and connecting with a broader audience of people who have shared values. And see, this is very powerful in business because you can build a community around your brand, people who eventually may become customers. It's part of a very smart and modern customer acquisition strategy to actually tap into people with shared values. So it's really important to know what you care about and then to also build that into the brand that you're creating to connect with people with shared values.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. We're keeping these conversations short and sweet, but you've already covered off so many great things there. And I love the different perspective and insight you've provided into this conversation around, what I like to call wonderful wealth, because I do believe wealth is wonderful. And, looking at it from the perspective that you've been looking at it from, it's definitely opened up my eyes to things. So I really appreciate you coming on and having a conversation today.
It's been fun. Thanks so much, Craig.
And I know there's going to be people out there that want to learn more, get to know, how they can get in contact with you. What's the best way for people to find you and follow you?
Yeah, definitely have a look at my website, which is www.radiatecoaching.org. I'd like to invite you to have a look, see whether what I'm doing resonates with you, and then reach out and we can have a conversation about how to connect into your values and also create a legacy through impact.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And as always, we'll include those details in our show notes that will accompany this conversation when it goes out.
Excellent.
So, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to talk. And, I dare say we'll probably try to get you on again because there's so much more that we can delve on. And I know we're going to have further conversations, and I know we're going to be able to share some stuff in the future as well. So once again, thank you very much for coming on, Patricia.
Thank you, Craig. It's been wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so that wraps up another conversation around wonderful wealth. If you want to follow more great videos and meet amazing people like Patricia, make sure to continue to follow us at theprofitproject.com.au. Till next time, bye.
See you later.